Today has been a very exciting morning, I guess, with the court hearing to see whether or not there was going to be an approval of an attorney eyes only when it comes to the Baldoni and Blake case. I listened to the whole call. I was on there sharp. 10 a.m. The parties involved were the Baldoni people, which include Jennifer Abel, as well as Melissa Nathan, Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, and the Wayfarer. There was also Leslie Sloan and her lawyers were there, as well as, of course, the lawyers for Blake Lively. And yeah, it seems like just yet again another stall tactic, another fishing expedition, another way to secure privacy for some parties without the others. And we're going to get into all of that. But first, I do want to talk about an article that was just dropped. B613 is working hard. They must be in overtime. If you just Google or do search engines right now on Justin Baldoni or Blake Lively, they're telling a very different story today, waking up to those stories. And this is a story that was just dropped. We're going to go over that. Then we're going to go over the court hearing that happened this morning. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get into it. So I guess it's illegal now to be positive or too positive. And at least that's what they're coming off. They had nothing else to go on. You know, nothing to tie Justin Baldoni to being a really bad guy. So now I guess what they're going for is toxic positivity. He was too positive. He was too nice. At least that's the story that we're getting today. I mean, Justin Baldoni's voluptuous road to the center of a Hollywood scandal. I love that he took their pictures and tried to shake it up like it was a mugshot and then got worse and worse and worse. Like, oh my God, he's unraveling. And then you go into the article and it's just former employees, of course, don't mention their name, sources, they don't want, not to bring up their name. Say who you are. You want to talk on it? What's your name? Who are you? Anyway, yeah, the story is he's just too positive. In my opinion, Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer seem like the people I would love to work with. Yeah, bro, if you're hiring, hook me up. You know what I mean? They seem like the type of people that you want to be around, that are holding you to this moral standard of just being kind. And I used to get this all the time. I had people message me on Instagram or even people that I work with. And I worked in a really toxic work environment and people would come at me for always being so positive. And it's just what kind of world are we living in that being kind and being positive is looked at like a really horrible thing? I just it's just so, really? This is what the grasping at straws is. But let's get into the article because this former employee has a lot to say. And by a lot to say, I mean really nothing at all. It was constantly positivity all the time. I would say toxic positivity. One former Wayfarer staffer told the publication, "I'm always a little dubious of people who advertise themselves as disruptors of the status quo or quote, unquote, good people. It felt phony." Is it Justin or is it you? You don't trust people who are nice? You don't trust people who are kind? You think that there's being positive is phony, and then they even say I look at it as people who are like that. Yeah, you got some healing to do because there are actually really nice, positive, kind people out there who always see the glass half full and try to share that with others. The person goes on to say that they were even said that they have to finish their emails by saying with love. I don't see anything wrong with that if it aligns morally with the company, which Wayfarer is all about. But Wayfarer has spoken back. A spokesperson has gone on record to say there have never been any reported complaints regarding the workplace culture or any communicated issues regarding the platforms of its founders. If any guidance was ever provided to employees on how to conduct their written correspondence, it was to ensure that the activities of its employees remain professional and aligned with the ethos of the company. Wayfarer believes that joy and positivity are the essence of good work, and they stand by this statement. In a world where everyone is in a toxic, or it seems like so many people work in a toxic work environment, and myself, I currently have a lawsuit pending about a toxic workplace environment that included harassment. Multiple occurrence of harassment, including topping it off with SH. And when it got to SH, I got out of there and I contacted my union immediately. I contacted the police immediately, filed a report. I contacted lawyers, right? So there are so many places where corporations take greed and profit over positivity, over employees being happy, over what's right and love. And now it's like they were just too positive. This is wowzers. Absolute bonkers, if you ask me. They go on to say how he would record himself while helping out a homeless man. He actually started a whole foundation to help unhoused people. They bring up how he started the foundation. I mean, the things that they're bringing up is really, really awful, to take his kindness and really the things that he did to help, to bring awareness, to help families. Even unfortunately, the musician that he helped who lost his life, and he really helped that foundation. Their parents have come out and thanked Justin for continuing on their son's journey. So to now be using this to try to weaponize it and demonize this man for doing good in the world, when we could only hope that more people with a platform, and Justin Baldoni's isn't as big as Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, that they would also be doing even more good, right? Like you can't, this just makes me so mad when kindness and good acts of faith from faith are used against them, when more people should be doing these kind of things. One staffer did come out who gave her name, thank you, did say he is highly creative and in tune with his spiritual side. Baldoni's previous personal and executive assistant, Melissa Ames, said he has a heart for helping others. Working at Wayfair was one of the best times of my life. I believe that. But again, B613 and Ken and Barbie, they are going to be working so hard to try to change the narrative. They're going to be weaponizing anything they can to make Justin look like a bad guy. Because compared to them, do you know what I mean? Like, it's already too, like, when I say, like, Ken, Barbie, we've seen the videos. We've seen the interviews. We've heard stories from people that has worked with Blake for years. They have come out and said that she was so cruel. She was so mean. You know, it's like, this is such a stretch. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about this article. You obviously already know my opinion on it. I think it's bonkers. I think they're really grasping at straws to try to turn the public against Justin and make us think that he's just this, like, super fake, mean guy under it all. And I haven't seen a shred of evidence. And if this person was really speaking in their truth, who are you? Right? Like, who are you? Okay, let's get into the court hearing today. I do have a lot of notes. To sum it up, basically, there was already a Protection Act granted that all parties agreed upon. They already agreed that for privacy, that there wasn't going to be anything shared to the public about certain things. That was already agreed upon. But now, the opposing side of Justin Baldoni, which includes Leslie Sloan, Stephanie motherfucking Jones, and Ken and Barbie, they now want AEO, which is attorney eyes only. So Judge Lehman basically just had the hearing to see why. Why do you want this, right? What's going on? And really, it's so broad to just request this. What specifically do you want in the AEO? So they all got a chance to speak, and basically, just to sum it up, I will go through like some interesting points that I found, but just to sum it up, it seems like Blake, they are requesting like medical files as well as her security team that she's hired, her third-party security team. They don't want the public to know anything about that, as well as her communications. They don't want not even Justin to know about that. Very interesting. Stephanie Jones and Leslie Sloan, who are the PR people, the opposed PR people, They don't want anything. Really, they're trying to argue saying that like they have trade secrets in there and game plans and their whole client list, and they don't want any of that getting out. And they all pretty much said that if it isn't AEO with Brian Freeman and his team, they're going to leak stuff to the media. So it begins with Lively's lawyers. They claim that Justin Baldoni's team leaked to the Daily Mail as of like yesterday or 2 days ago. And she also brought up once again the reference of Steve Sorovitz, where he claimed, which this isn't even proof, like it's just in her amended lawsuit. So who knows if this was actually said or if it's just gossip or if it's literally just lies. But again, the lawyers brought up the whole Hamas versus Israel and the dead bodies and how Steve Sorovitz and Justin Baldoni are willing to spend hundreds of millions of dollars. They have an unlimited cap on the amount of money that they're going to spend to take down Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Then Stephanie motherfucking Jones's, I do, like, when I tell you, when I found out what Steph Jones did to Jennifer Abel, that woman, as soon as I hear her name, I consider her one, like, of the worst people in this case, honestly. But Steph Jones referred to the case and said that, or not her, none of the parties were there. These are all their lawyers. So when I say their names, please know I'm talking about their lawyers. Jones's lawyers referred to the case that has to do with trade secrets, as well as, letting their client list get out and blah, 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 blah. And there's a lot of secrets that they don't want people to know, kind of like their game plan of how they do things in the media. Judge Lyman was asking about that, and they claim it's the same with their business plan, and then also like quoted passing that Judge Lehman just passed like on a case a few years ago, but then Judge Lehman was quick to say like, hey, that was about trades and huge secrets within the company. It Ends With Us is already wrapped, like the movie's already done. Lively's lawyers claim that Baldoni's parties would break the order, that they're going to break the order because the stories that could get leaked are worth more than the privacy or something. It was very bizarre, but they're basically just saying that they don't trust Justin Baldoni's team, and says that even sanctions, because then Judge Lehman was like, well, if they do break the order of protection, I will sanction them. And then they were saying that sanctions of contempt wouldn't be sufficient and that the damage would already be done. They also said that they don't want any of her mental health and health records. They don't have any business being released at all. So then Judge Lehman did come back and say that even if he does currently even approve this attorney eyes only and or anything that has to do with the protection of the case, right? Anything that is in discovery, whatever records go to trial, whatever records are able to go to trial are going to become public anyways. It's inherent in the nature of the case. So it's going to be picked up by the press regardless if it's now or if it's when it goes to trial. So whatever is put into discovery, whatever is used and presented in the court will be public regardless. And then Judge Lehman did say that Mr. Freeman has worked on a lot of high-profile cases, and he knows what it means when you have a court protection on things. And, he's not just going to go freely and break the Court Protection Act, that he is, he's a professional. He's worked on these cases many, many, many times. Judge Lyman then goes on to ask exactly like what they want, because there aren't really categories in this case that would justify the AEO. However, what categories are you guys looking for? And within that category, what exactly are, what are we looking for? I think he just really wanted some clear answers as to what exactly, tell me exactly what is an AE, what are you looking for? Because it just seems like a very broad request at this point. Then Brian Freeman, Justin Baldoni, and Wayfair's lawyer, as well as Jennifer Abel and Melissa Nathan, he got on. He pretty much, to sum it up, said that it was very rude to imply that that team would break the court's order, and also said that because the opposing team, Ken and Barbie, are huge celebrities and are super powerful, that they get treated any differently, and that they're creating some sort of laws different in this case that would never apply to everyday people. I found that to be very interesting, because it is true. Why did Ken and Barbie think that they could subpoena 2.5 years of everybody's communication? I mean, everybody, like kind of crazy. Something I also thought that was very interesting is when I think it was Stephanie Jones or Leslie Sloan's lawyer, one of those PR teams, said that they were brought in and that they shouldn't even be there. And then Judge Lyman was like, actually, I'm the one that says whether or not your case should be here, and I haven't made that decision yet. So I was like, damn. And if you ask me, they both deserve to be there. And let me tell you, they're so thinking that their cases are going to get dismissed and that they shouldn't be here. Okay, let's talk about it because excuse me, Stephanie Jones and Leslie Sloan, how exactly did Blake Lively get all of Jennifer Abel's text messages? Stephanie Jones, was it not you who gave Jennifer Abel's phone to Leslie Sloan, who then gave it to Blake Lively, where you then cherry-picked which text messages to put into a fake story for the New York Times? So, yeah, I think y'all both deserve to be there front row. And the fact that Stephanie Jones even did that, I mean, the way she treated her employees already just tells me everything that I need to know about her and why they wouldn't like Justin Baldoni and the way he treats his employees, because apparently there is a stark difference night and day. But it's just so wild to me that first they said that they retrieved those messages through a legal subpoena. And no one's really talking about that because they didn't. There was no subpoena for those phone records. Stephanie Jones was literally so ticked off, and she's a little bit of a, in my opinion, alleged psychopath, a complete wacko of a boss. She was so mad that Jennifer Abel left to go start their own firm, and Wayfair and Baldoni went with her. They went with Jennifer Abel. That Stephanie Jones took Jennifer Abel's private communications, took all of her phone, took all of her emails, and went to Leslie Sloan and Blake Lively because she knew that they would use it against them. It is absolutely atrocious. So yes, you two definitely deserve to be in this case, and I don't think your cases are going to get dismissed at all. At all. Or they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be, because what you guys literally started this fire, really, with those messages. Okay, sorry about that. But when I think about what those ladies have done, they really stirred the pot, It's just so bizarre. And if we're going to be seeing, we've already seen Jennifer Abel and Melissa Nathan's text to each other. We've already seen Justin's text with those PR people. I think it's time for Barbie to show us her texts. I think it's time we get that. And now you want to keep everything private? Now you want to keep it attorney eyes only? Right? You already leaked Jennifer Abel's text with Justin Baldoni. You already leaked Jennifer Abel and Melissa Nathan's text. Justin has already gave us so many receipts. And yet, we haven't had any communications from the other team. It'll be interesting to see who really was doing a smear campaign, who really was, taking over the movie, who really was doing what either party says. It'll be very interesting once we get that side of the conversation. Okay, back into it. So then Brian Freeman goes on to say that it's it's ridiculous that now a PR firm, which PR firms dangle their clients in front of everyone. It's no secret who's on a roster for PR. It's no secret who sources are when they go to media is usually the PR people. So it's very interesting, and he says it's not a secret which firm represents any celebrity. In fact, it's not even disclosed to the public. PR agents call the press about their clients. Everyone knows this. But now they want to keep it hush-hush and super private to where it's attorney eyes only. What they're asking for is what has to do with it ends with us. So Jennifer Abel already worked the whole time, right? So anything before and after that has to do with it ends with us. And they even said, we're not interested in who they represent or about anyone else outside of the people in this case. They're not Ken and Barbie looking for 2.5 years of communications with everybody. They want the communications and they want in discovery about this case. They don't care about everyone else, Tom, Dick, and Harry. It was also very interesting that Judge Lehman brought up the allegations of the New York Times, that one party is saying that they went to the New York Times and then the other party is saying that they went to the New York Times. So that will be a very interesting thing when the New York Times enters the chat. Went on to say that this isn't like Pepsi or Coke. They don't need to talk to their clients about the case to clear their names or like disclose recipes to each other. How is he supposed to defend himself when he's not even allowed to see the discovery? Brian Freeman was like, how do I defend my client when my client can't even see the communications? Like, it doesn't make sense. They're not asking to take this so that they can now hurt Lively. He says, we have no intention of breaking the protection order. We have no intention of furthering damage on her. All we want to do is defend ourselves properly. He goes on to say that if they want something specific with extra protection, they can ask for that when they present it. But this is so broad that they're trying to shift the perspective immediately. And there is already a model order of protection, and that they want to adhere to that model order because it protects all parties, including the Wayfarer parties. And also that they are celebrities. So it's not like they're trading trade secrets or anything. Just because they're celebrities doesn't mean that they should get treated like they're some big, huge trade secret. And then he does say something that's super interesting. And I guess there was something in there that said, that was requesting that Brian Freeman and the Baldoni and Wayfarer team not share any communications and not send anything over the internet. The internet. So Brian Freeman was like, that is so broad. So now I can't even send an email. I can't do anything. Like, that needs to be stricken because it's the internet, Now you're asking me to not even be able to send an email? Like, well, what am I supposed to, I was thinking, like, what do they want him to do? Just use snail mail all the time? Like, that's kind of a crazy request to not even be able to use the internet to communicate. So then the opposing team, Baldoni, go in and use a case from Brian Freeman that he tried to say, like, you were already in a case like this that was requested as an attorney eyes only. Attorney eyes only. Yes, that's right. So you should know better. So Judge Lehman says, is there anyone else that wants to talk? It was kind of all of that thing, the whole 90 minutes of the phone call, pretty much just trying to get specifics, specifics and why, and prove why you need this. I don't think it was proven. I think it was still very broad. Like, nobody cares about what you're doing outside of this case, right? Like, no one cares about your extra security. No one cares about what you and your family are doing. We want to know why you stole this man's movie. We want your text messages. And just because they have to do with Taylor Swift, just because you have text messages with probably the other actors, right, colluding with them, giving them some promises, that doesn't matter. We want them. I don't care who you were talking to. Anyway, Judge Lyman goes to dismiss everyone, and then he just asks if anyone else has anything to say about it. And I think that y'all should hear Brian Freeman's closing because it's exactly what everyone's saying. Blake Lively put this thing out into the New York Times. She filed her CRD. And now Justin is only defending himself. He would have never said any of this. He would have never told the full story. We would have never known what happened had Blake just let it go. But I think it's very important. Brian Freeman goes on, sorry, my audio cut out, that the movie that he was talking about was Pulp Fiction, and he was representing Quentin Tarantino, and it was about a screenplay, an active screenplay with copyright. He then goes on to say that they do not want to further harm Blake Lively at all. They only want to defend themselves, which they have a right to do. He also says that although AEOs are very important in cases, it's usually about huge trade secrets and not in cases like this. In a case like this, there is no bearing to have such a request. He tells the judge that he does not intend, no one intends to further harm Blake Lively, especially for reporting misconduct. In fact, she put out a 138-page, 500-paragraph new amended lawsuit. And in most cases, as soon as that was dropped, even in her first complaint, Justin Baldoni and his clients were already guilty just by association in the public, just because of the claim, and all they want to do is defend themselves fairly. Before we go, I do want to talk a little bit about the story that also came out this week about Brendan Sklenar on his Vanity Fair. Seemed like he was wearing the same flower that Justin Baldoni wore at the screening of It Ends With Us. A lot of people are trying to, piece it together and say now he supports Justin. This is a sign. This is an Easter egg. It's not good enough. So until he actually comes out with support, it's not good enough, because I would like your same support for Justin Baldoni to be as loud or louder than what your support was for Blake. Okay? Also, I will say though, and I'm not going to show the clip because I know creators their videos have been taken down showing clips of this interview, even though it's within the time frame that you're allowed to show outside sources. This interview, as well as the interview that he just did a few weeks ago with Gail on the morning show, his tone is definitely different. He's talking about, let's just go back to the message of the movie. Let's talk about the message. Let's not forget why we made this. There's so much noise about it. I'm team It Ends With Us. Where were you during the whole press tour? Because you got swept up in your floral jeans, letting Blake use you like some sex symbol. To me, that's close to SH, because he looked so uncomfortable. She got him to say almost at every single press interview, say the line. Oh, when he looked at me, I couldn't believe it. And he just turned to me and said, and what about you? What do you want? Oh, Verno, that was the message of the movie? Huh? Trying to get women to what? Goo all over you? Was the message of the movie to have Blake's husband, Ryan Reynolds, show up and act like a jealous, raged husband during the press tour? Like, let's be so for real, So yeah, you know what? Everyone, including Justin Baldoni, when he spent 5 years trying to create It Ends With Us for the message of the film, and then the entire year after in post, as well as the PR tour, even though y'all sent that man to the basement, you didn't stand up for him at the press release, at the premiere of It Ends With Us. No, you were taking pictures with Reynolds and Hugh Jackman on the red carpet. That man was in a basement. Okay, so nobody puts Baldoni in a basement. It's too late. If you're going to support him loudly, because wearing a little flower pin says nothing to me at this point. Okay, I got a little heated there. So, as always, what we're going to do is finish with a card. I'm going to use the pack today from Listen Bitch, Daily Motivational Cards. And we are going to see what we can summon. What can we think about today? Imagine how good it'll feel when you're done. Keep going. Oh, I need that more than ever, actually, because the projects I have right now, things I'm doing, I feel like there's just not enough time in the day or energy in my body to get them all done. I'm one person. I don't have a team. I'm all alone here on an island trying to do big things. So yeah, that's great. Imagine how good it will feel when you're done. Keep going. Dang. Okay. Thank you so much. I'm hoping you're having the best day. Definitely talk soon. And yeah, drop your comments. What do you think is going to happen? I mean, between the court hearing and the B613 putting out stories. I mean, even now when you Google Justin's name and Blake Lively's name is telling a whole different story. I mean, there's obviously things going on. But yeah, we'll see. I'm hoping that there is no attorney eyes only, because then we'll have to wait for trial. But yeah, we'll see. Anyway, talk soon. Bye.